Hello there, Romans here, and welcome to my next music review. Today it's going to be 30 Seconds to Mars, America.
Music review. Music review.
30 Seconds to Mars is one of the most popular groups in the last 10 or 15 years, and they've always been kind of like love it or hate it. And I personally am a big fan of 30 Seconds to Mars. I really like their records. It's been a long time ago that I kind of discovered them. I remember that back in the high school they were quite popular, and it was something like 9 years ago when I went through their albums, and their self-titled debut album is a very interesting record. It's kind of a strange, maybe weird at times, but also very unique. It's a beautiful record that really stands apart from almost any other nu metal groups at that time. And with the second album, A Beautiful Lie, they pretty much took everything that was great about the first album and they made it more accessible, more mass appealing, more commercial. And a lot of people complained that the instrumentation was kind of dull, like there wasn't much happening, like from an instrumentation point of view, there wasn't really that much to play. And I think that this fact just became more and more evident with the newer releases. But A Beautiful Lie was nevertheless a very nice record, and This Is War from 2009 was a record that really marked a big change in their direction when they transformed from a at times pretty heavy rock band into a more of a pop rock group incorporating some elements of electronic music. And This Is War was a beautiful record. That was a record that won me over as a fan. I have it on LP actually, and I think that it was a great balance between melodies that were catchy and between songs that were also artistic in a certain way. I really liked that record a lot. And then 5 years ago they came out with their fourth album, Love, Lust, Faith and Dreams, which in my opinion was their weakest record out of those four, but it was still a pretty good album. Like Up in the Air is a great song that I didn't like at first, but it grew on me after some time. And with the exception of like 2, maybe 3 songs, it was a very solid record. So obviously I was very interested in seeing what kind of record they would bring now, as the previous record was even more into that electronic pop territory. So we have a new record here. It's coming out 6th of April and I've heard it 4 times as of now. The album opens up with the song Walk on Water, which is a song I think all of you have heard already. It's a song that has been released in August 2017, so it's a pretty old single. And I must say that this wasn't a song that I really liked, and I'm gonna say why. But first, what I really like about this song are those big choirs that almost have a gospel feeling, because it's not just some shouted words, but they actually have some melody, and it's really beautiful. The song as such is okay, but what I really don't like about the song is oh, oh, radioactive, radioactive. Every time I hear the song, it just reminds me of arguably the most popular rock song of like last 6 years, Imagine Dragons and their Radioactive song. Every time, man, every time I hear that song, that melody pops up. Dangerous Night is a song that again starts in a very electronic pop kind of way, but then the chorus is just with a guitar, with an electric guitar. It's kind of a nice contrast. And then you've got both of them connected together. It's a very standard song in terms of the genre that it's written in, but it's a pretty okay song. When I heard it for the first time, out of those 3 singles that I've heard out of the record, this was the one where I said, okay, I like this song. Rescue Me is a song that has an actual guitar pattern at the beginning. It's a song that's very traditional pop song in a way that you've got that one chord progression that is pretty much repeated throughout the whole song. Generally this is a very average song, kinda heard it before, and what I've realized with this song and especially with the next song is the production of the record. I like that 30 Seconds to Mars tried to push their style and their sound almost with every record. What I liked about 30 Seconds to Mars was that there was this great balance between songs that were commercial and accessible, but also there was some artistic value in that. And 30 Seconds to Mars were always balancing on that thin line between being just like every other pop group and being something different. And I think that they were pretty successful at staying behind that line and being something different. But many of the songs on this record just feel like a generic pop music. If you erased his voice and put Adam Levine's vocals over that, it would sound like Maroon 5. Or if you put any singer there, it would sound just like any other pop group. That's the problem. Of course, the production is, a lot of people may argue that the production is top-notch, it's great. Of course, it's a production that a band like 30 Seconds to Mars can afford. But on the other hand, there is almost nothing to make them sound different than any other pop artist today. Pop artist, not a group. And the song One Track Mind just really proves this a lot. This is just such a generic, average pop tune, and even the featuring of ASAP, the rapper, is like, you know, it's exactly what you would expect from a song like that. Funny thing though is that this song has an actual guitar solo at the end. Very simplistic, but an actual guitar solo. Monolith is a short instrumental track that reminds me a lot of the soundtrack for a computer game Mass Effect 3. One of the best soundtracks I've ever heard, so check it out. This is quite epic.
You are epic.
Love is Madness is a duet with Halsey, an American synth pop, electro pop singer, and it's a song that has very electro pop vibe. I like the idea that they are like changing. Jared is singing, then she is singing. It makes it interesting, but on the other hand, it's a song that doesn't really work for me. Great Wide Open is the first really traditional 30 Seconds to Mars song that kind of reminds me of Kings and Queens or City of Angels. It's a very optimistic pop tune, one of the best tracks on the record, I really like it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but is this the first track where Jared used falsetto? I really like it, it's kind of a something different. I've been talking about production making them sound just like everybody else. Hail to the Victor is a song where I think the production works very fine, and I really like this song. It's actually the beginning, the first chord is the same as the song End of All Days from the previous record, and at first it's a piano-based song, and then you've got some, it's slightly more rocking with some synth. The next track is called Dawn Will Rise. Jared just likes French, doesn't he? This is a song that is slightly more indie, electro-pop. It's got a little hurricane vibe, and I'm personally not a big fan of tuned vocals or pitch-shifted vocals like Lil Wayne or Kanye West. This is the reason why I kind of didn't like that song. The next track is called Remedy. Who sings this song? I was unable to find any information on that on the internet. Is it Shannon or is it somebody else? Apart from that, it's acoustic guitar based song, but again kind of average. Live Like a Dream is another really great song of the record. That is the second really traditional 30 Seconds to Mars song. It's got a very nice atmosphere, very positive energy, and of course very traditional 30 Seconds to Mars sing-along chorus. The album ends up with a song called Rider, which has some orchestral arrangements giving it a very cinematic feel. So to sum up, I can't help but feel that this is probably the weakest record 30 Seconds to Mars brought to date. I think that they are quite popular and quite rich in order to try something more experimental, because at times there are just songs that really sound very average. On the other hand, I do feel a need to listen to this record again, and that's very important. If you watch my other reviews, you know that it always comes down to one question: is this a record I would want to listen to again? And the answer is yes, but it's maybe because I haven't heard it that many times. But I really like 30 Seconds to Mars. I really like the atmosphere they very often create and bring, and that might be the reason why I'm going to listen to this record a few more times. So I can't really decide whether to give this record 6 or 7 points. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. Maybe I'll write a comment in a few days how I've decided. It's the same thing I did with Editors. And while I'm mentioning Editors, I think they are a great example of a group that plays some sort of a rock music with some indie elements and electronic elements. And I think that in their case it really works. Their album Violence is just fantastic. Check out the review if you want to know more. If you are a fan of 30 Seconds to Mars, especially of their previous 2 records, you may find the new one interesting. If you like this review,
don't forget to
like, share, subscribe.
You can follow him
on Facebook and on Instagram. You can find links to both
in comment section below.
You can also let me know if you liked the record or you didn't, if you agreed with me or you haven't.
I didn't.
She hasn't heard the record, but whatever. I'm also gonna have my first official video released next week with my album coming out, so be sure to subscribe to see that as well. It's going to be rock music without guitars. Instead there's drums, bass, saxophone and keyboards, which makes the record pretty unique worldwide. So thanks a lot for watching, and if there are any bloopers at the end, or I should ask.
It doesn't really I am Groot for me. Don't forget to like.
Ale musíš počkať chvíľu, hej, lebo aby to bolo. Don't forget to, hej?
Don't forget to.
Ale počkaj, don't forget to. Tak.
You can't follow. You can't.
You can't follow me.
You can find a link to both.
Počkaj.
To both.
To both.